All right, shalom, shalom. All right, I'm gonna get into this lesson, right? But my lesson yesterday, I ran out of space on my phone, so it had cut off on me. So I'm just gonna tie in that lesson from yesterday into this lesson. All right, I don't know what I'm gonna entitle this lesson. Give me 1 second. But let's get straight into it. All right, so you know, you see this picture right here. It's a damn rat wheel, right? And what is a rat wheel? What is a spiritual undertone to a rat wheel? You ain't getting nowhere, but you think you're getting somewhere. But that's the same concept of this place, America, right? People are literally existing. They're not living. They don't get the difference, right? Let's go to this rat wheel meaning. It says a circular cage for a hamster or other small rodent, which rotates vertically as the animal runs at the bottom. It says uh, it says repetitive, unfulfilling activity. That's what this place is. Unfulfilling. I'm gonna go to that definition. It says, especially one in which no progress is achieved. So we just literally working to pay bills, right? You might be able to save a little money here and there, so-called money, right? But the money that you got so-called saved is something's gonna happen when it's gonna be spent, right? It's gonna be some kind of emergency, right? So you're never gonna prosper in this society collectively as a people. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Right here, the definition unfulfilling. It says not providing happiness or satisfaction. Right. So this place America is bitter, right? And it's known to be a pit. A pit is captivity, right? You have to have so-called money to do anything, right? Beautiful as this world is, right? We are confined, right, to what so-called money that we have, right? That what we can do and what we can see, right? That's called being in captivity, right? So this is an unfulfilling place, and our people have this worker ant mentality, right? And they trained you to be a worker. Let me go to this quote by one of these devils. Give me 1 second, right here. And these devils, you know what I'm saying, the so-called white man, the upper echelon of these devils, the elites, right? The so-called Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, this is how they look at you. It says, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. And the average so-called monkey-minded American, right, is too dumb to think for themselves. That's why they have to be instructed through the TV, the media, to what to think, what to do, where to go, right, what to wear, when to buy a house, right? With buying a house is a scam, you know what I'm saying? But they've convinced you that this was the right way you need to be living. It says John D. Rockefeller. So there's these devils. That's why we call them devils, man. We're not just saying that, right? Look at these devils. You can look at them, you know what I'm saying? Straight up demonic. Let's go back here. The worker ant mentality. All right. So this is what Jake got in his mind when he said get the bag. Get the bag, then what, mother MFer? Then what? It's not gonna stop us from death. It's not gonna stop us from getting disease, right? So what is it? It's all vanity. Right? You do have to make a living on this side because we're in captivity. We have to do what we have to do. In every captivity that we ever went to, we still had to survive. Right? And the Most High understands that. It says worker ant mentality. And they program you to be a worker, man. That's all Jake want to do is go to work. Right? And I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. The whole point of you going to work or work your own estate was you get the benefit off that. You had land, you had resources, and you will work those land and resources, right, and make profit. You know what I'm saying? Make real money off that. Not in a system. That's what Jake don't really understand, right? A lot of these Jakes can't even read. They can't comprehend it. It says they are constantly on the move, working tirelessly to gather food, all right, build their nest and protect their colony. So to flip it to a spiritual sense, our people are literally, they're trying to survive, right? They don't got time to think about nothing else, right? Because they've been programmed to be this way, right? The Most High gave you a vast mind. It's meant to be worked and, like a car, right? If you don't drive a car, that's really not good. A car was made to drive. Things are dry rot, you have leaks, so on and so forth. So the brain was meant to be put in use. And sometimes you got to push it to its capacity, right? And get out that weak spirit that Jake feel like everything is overwhelming, right? No, you got to be able to multitask and do different things and be able to, because you'll put all your energy into the system, but you ain't got no time for the Most High. What kind of sense do that make? When this world is temporary and the world to come is eternal, how does that make rational sense? But Jake don't be using their mind. All right. Let's see if I can find another one. But it's really a mindset, right? But you get it, and that's how these devils wanted you to be. They programmed you to be this certain way, right? So let me get back. I'm gonna kind of land back off the lesson I did yesterday, dealing with this disparity with dealing with how we live and how the so-called white man live, right? And they act like it don't matter. They act like it's not a big deal, right? It's called economic slavery. Matter of fact, let me go here because I kind of misspoke on this yesterday, right? So I said 80% of wealth, it says at the very top, is actually 86%, right? It says so-called white people own 86% of wealth, which that has went up to 90%, right? And make up 60% of the population, which that's a lie too, right? I'm gonna read this one more time so you get the gist of it. It says, who owns wealth in the United States? It says, according to the data from the Federal Reserve, which the Federal Reserve ain't even a part of your government. That's how dumb these American is. It says in 1990, white households, so-called white, right? You have to break that spell of saying white and black. That's why we say so-called. You have to, implement that into your way you talk, right? When it's wise to do so. It says so-called white households own 90.7%. I want you to really wrap your head around that, of household wealth in the United States. So they own everything, right? Jake just getting crumbs. And you might see a few of these Jakes that so-called make it, right? But they had to sell out to this system, right? They so-called make it, whatever that means, right? And our people see a few of them Jakes and it's like, well, they can do it, I can do it. No, it's not set up that way. It says where so-called black households own 3.8%. You see that big, that's uncomprehendable, right? And Hispanic, why is so-called Hispanic here? Because these are part of the tribes as well. Not every single so-called Hispanic person, but the ones that come from the stock of the nation of Israel, right? You got Edomites mixed among all nations as well, right? It says so-called Hispanic households own 2.1%. Why is this so? Because the so-called white man want it all, right? They don't want to share the wealth, even though they might say equality. See, Jake's stupid. Jake too simple-minded to understand these his smooth words, right? His fair speeches, deceive, right? And most of our people simple-minded, and they docile. They don't have no understanding what is really going on in this world. They don't know, they're ignorant, right? It says these numbers have changed little over the past 30 years. You hear this? With so-called white households, right, now only 85.5% of wealth, which that's about 90%, right? Don't be fooled by this number, all right? Jake just get the crumbs, right? You look at all this vast land that they stole, right? Think about if you stole land, you stole all this land that you see, right? And it ain't just in America, in the United States. They did this everywhere they went. You enslaved the people, then you made them Christians, right? Think about how much wealth you got to think about that. The land plus the resources that was already on the land, and plus you had people, that they enslaved our ancestors, the Native Americans, the so-called Mexicans. They enslaved everybody to work the lands. Think about how much wealth you gonna make. All right, the wealth that we made them is how you got the United States. It's how you got all these sprawling cities, these sprawling mansions, Chicago, LA, all them rich, homes, right? In LA, in New York, them skyscrapers was all built on slavery, right? So you contributed to all this wealth, right? So you should be pissed off about this, man. And Jake too goddamn stupid to understand stuff. Let's go here. Let's hit the scripture real quick. Micah 2:2. And they covered fields. So-called white man, he stole all this land that's known as so-called North America, Central America, and South America. Went to so-called Africa, all over, right? They covered fields and take them by force by the hand of the sword, right? That's their blessing. And houses and take them away. So they want it all, man. They even want the souls of men. They want you to be a Christian too. If you're not a Christian, they can't control you, right? So that's a problem for them. So that's why they're going to call what we saying hate speech. And Jake's so stupid, they're going to be seduced by the so-called white man talk, all right? And so they oppress a man and his house, even a man in his heritage. They even claim it to be us. How insane is that? They want it all, right? Let's go here. Let's go to this economic. What is economic slavery? So that's what you in if you don't know it, because our people don't really know how to articulate what's going on in real time. That's why the spirit been put on us, so we can break it down to you so you can get it. For the elect of the nation Israel, they will have an analytical mind, right? They won't be on the dummy, right? It says economic slavery. It says economic slavery is the use of one or more three pillars. Welfare. That's why the so-called Democrats give these handouts to Jake to cripple them, right? It says public housing and eugenics. They go your Planned Parenthood, all these abortion facilities, right? It says to prevent any group of people from realizing the American dream is self-sufficient. So you got to do it by yourself, which that's a lie too, right? It ain't no American dream for us, right? They want it all and they have took it all and they control it all, right? The Most High is letting them do this though. They not doing this on their own, right? And the tide getting ready to turn though, and we gonna have the power, and that's coming soon, man. And you got to believe that. If you can believe in the curses, you got to believe in the blessings, right? We weren't just gonna be slaves forever, right? Being in state. No, the Most High is balance, all right? Let me see right here. They even said the most abortion clinics are located next to areas where high welfare populations. It's all by design to limit their population growth, right? There you go. So I ain't got to go deep into that, but I will add this to it as well. So economic slavery is like I went into this right here. They control all the wealth, the land. Jake don't understand real estate, right? Which it wasn't meant for us to really get involved in all this system like that, right? But you do have to know a little something to do a little something, so to speak, right? But they control all the real estate. So when you go into these cities, you see a lot of building. I'm in Texas, so there's a lot of building going on here, a lot of development. All these developers are so-called white men for the most. You might have a Jake sprinkled here and there, but they are getting the crumbs. Right now, people are not understanding what's going on in real time, right? These apartments are controlled by these companies that be so-called white men come together, collaborate, and build a apartment complex. You rent them out, right? And they're making money off you, right? Now, people think that's normal activity. No, you've been oppressed. All right, let me see if I covered it. All right, so I was going to go into the U.S. Constitution, right? Which they, say all men are created equal, but you were still in slavery. That was a lie, but I think you get the gist of it. Let me see. I hit everything. Right here, this is what I wanted to hit before I close it out. But this is concept of redlining. You see the same house, right? In the so-called black family to the left is $300. It's worth $300,000. The same house, and on the right, so-called white family, $700,000. Think about that wealth. All right. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Kwadash. Shalom.